morning, good evening, depending on where you are. Everyone that already joined us, listen carefully because today our coaches André Homulenko and Gaurav Bhosle will tell you how to get an offer at McKinsey. And we're gonna simulate the first round of the case interview with McKinsey and our candidate Rehan. So please welcome. I suppose that most of you already know me because we had this opportunity to speak this week or last week or whatever, but we already know each other. And for everyone else who see me like at the first time, you will have the opportunity in the end of the webinar to book a call with me where I will tell you about your first steps towards consulting career. But it will be like later, so no worries at all. So let me tell you the agenda for today's webinar. The webinar will last just 16 minutes. And in the beginning, we will do some brief introduction. After that, we will move to the interested part. So we will do interactive case simulation. After that, we will tell you about our value proposition. And for whom of you who will stay with us till the end, we will tell about our bonuses that we save for you. And in the end of the webinar, we will do some interactive Q&A session. So please, guys, don't hesitate at all. Feel free to write down into the Zoom chat all of your questions about consulting, about McKinsey and cases, everything that you're interested in, because in the end of the webinar, our coaches will answer it, okay? So guys, it's a really great opportunity for you to speak with the coaches today, okay? And yes, I think that now we're gonna start. And yes, for who don't know me yet, I'm Alessia Kim. I'm a client manager at Consulting Masters. Today, I'm gonna moderate this webinar. And in case you have any questions, you know what to do, right? Perfect. And now, guys, I would like to introduce you our beautiful coaches. So please listen carefully, okay? First of them is Gaurav Bhosle. He is a chief coach. And Gaurav has 6 years of strategy consulting experience in Europe, MENA, and Asia, working in 15 plus industries and 20 plus countries, okay? And Gaurav, he is a full-time career coach since 2013 and more than 500 clients already working in top consulting firms, including 200 plus clients currently working at MBB. It's a great result. So of course, Gaurav, he's not just a coach, career coach. He's an ex-McKinsey consultant and he's an ex-Accenture strategy consultant. He grew up from entry level to senior manager in just 6 years. Can you believe that? And last but not least, Gaurav, he is an ICF certified career transition coach and entrepreneur with 2 successful startups and owns a recruiting firm. Yeah, so please very welcome Gaurav Bhosle. And now I would like to move to another coach and expert. Please welcome André Homulenko. He is also a CEO of Consulting Masters. And since 2014, Andrea has been coaching his mentees to help them receive offers from the top consulting firms worldwide. So of course, he's an ex-senior manager in the industry and occupied a position of an acting project manager at Roland Berger in Munich, Kiev, and Dubai. And he was part of the recruiting team, that's important actually, and interviewed more than 115 candidates on different positions in these regions. Also, Andrea made a fast-track career from a consultant to acting project manager in just 17 months, while it took his peers 5 to 6 years to do the same. Guys, can you believe it? Just 17 months. And also, Andrea has 7 plus of international consulting experience and has successfully completed more than 30 projects in more than 10 countries across the globe. Okay, guys, now I told you everything about our beautiful experts. And as you understand, you will definitely receive an offer from the top consulting firms with their help, because you will definitely can learn something from them, right? Because they are just not career coaches, they are consultants, and they were part of the recruiting team. So they know the whole process from the inside. So please, guys, pay attention to all of your attention to them and listen carefully, okay? Now, I think that we are ready to start our webinar. So I'm gonna pass the word to Andrea, and please welcome.
Hello, Alessia. Hi, everyone. How are you doing, guys? Alessia, first of all, very much thank you for your kind words and for your great intro. I'm so happy to see you. I know that you got vaccinated yesterday. I hope you are doing well.
Thank you, Andrea.
I also hope it's been a while, ladies and gentlemen, since we have seen us last time. Not because we have been lying on the beach. It's simply due to the fact that Gaurav, myself, and the entire team, we have been very much active over the past few weeks and months in helping our mentees to receive the job offers. So very warm welcome aboard to our today's webinar. Please use this opportunity to learn as much as possible about consulting, and not only learn, but also take your first step towards your future career dream and basically reach out to us. All right, let's kind of start it with a concept. The reason why we were so busy is because the recruiting season in consulting is currently really in the full range. And over the last few weeks, we were able to help 11 mentees, our clients, to receive in total 23 job offers from all major consulting firms worldwide, like McKinsey, Bain, Strategy, and Kearney, Roland, Berger, EY-Parthenon, Deloitte, and many, many others. Let me simply give you a couple of examples of our mentees on the next page whom we have helped with. So this month, this young gentleman, Edward Fayard, he has already started his career at Roland Berger. So he actually came to us at the end of August. He only had I think that his main challenge was he had 9 days before the actual interview with Roland Berger, and he was completely unprepared because he has zero business background and zero experience in consulting and case interviews. He's been studying international politics. So can you actually imagine, guys, how far he was from business and from consulting itself? And of course, we came up with a very intense preparation program for him. And I think that within 7 days, we somehow squeezed 13 sessions. It was really pretty rough and intense time for both sides. But what is really most important is that he was able to make a difference. And within the shortest time frame possible, we were able to help him to come up to the speed so that he really impressed the partners during the final interview round, which resulted in him receiving actually the job offer from Roland Berger Dubai. And I'm happy to announce that on the 1st of November, he joined RB in Dubai office. So that's just to give you one fresh example. But we also have another mentee who joined McKinsey this month. Maybe some of you can even recognize Fernando, because a few months back in May, June, and July, he used to be our candidate for case practicing quite a lot. And especially those of you who are studying at IEC, maybe they even know him in person. Fernando came to us with the following need. I think his main challenge was he's already older than 35, between 35 and 40, and he considered himself to be too old and overqualified because he has been working in the steel industry before his MBA for more than 12 years. And he had literally zero consulting experience. He also didn't have that much confidence. That's why it's so crucially important for you to start working and to expose yourself in the webinars like this. That's why, Rihan, my congratulations that today you're doing your first step playing the candidate for us today. I think even if you bombed today's case, it's no worries. Fernando bombed a couple of few of the cases with us. But the most important thing is that it is part of your learning journey. So failures is just a part of the journey, and you definitely need to learn from them. And we were, Gaurav and myself and the entire team were so proud of Fernando because he was really dedicated, highly committed person. And we were able to help him through the entire process, starting with CV, cover letter polishing, networking, fit and behavioral part interview, case interview prep, which ultimately resulted in him successfully passing all the interview rounds. And now, as of 1st of November, so I think it's 3 weeks before, he joined McKinsey in Panama office as a senior associate and made himself, his wife, and the entire family extremely proud of his achievement. So these are just a couple of examples to illustrate to you what we have been very busy over the last few weeks. And maybe some of you still have some sort of doubt. Maybe some of you are thinking like, okay, Fernando, Edward, they are extremely good. Am I as good as them? We want to reveal this concern for you because today we have prepared a lot of bonuses. So stay till the end in order to receive them. And I'm pretty sure even if some of you are questioning questioning like, is consulting something right for me? Can I really do this? Or if you have any other major concern, I just want to share with you one of the video messages from one of our mentees, Ahmed Shamsuddin, who came to us in February this year. He was extremely stressed because he freshly graduated from one of the best universities in London, in Europe, and he literally got no interview calls. And when he came, he had so many doubts. So just listen to his story. I think it could be really useful and very much inspiring for many of you. I don't know. In German, we say mein Herz geht auf, which basically means that every time when I see these kind of videos from our clients, I'm so happy. I'm so excited because our company does nothing else but helps young individuals to create a real impact in your careers. And if you are thinking, basically, if you really have this strong motivation and strong desire to join consulting, if you're able to work hard and if you are very dedicated and committed, then I can always say, be like Ahmed. And could you just promise me one thing, that just today you can do your very first step towards your dream and get in touch with our team. We would be more than happy to help you. Feel free to contact this young lady, Alessa. She is waiting for you. She would be really glad to analyze your situation and to connect you to our experts. So over this link, which we shared with you, you can book the very first meeting and take your first step towards your future career. I mean, we definitely want to produce even more successful stories in the coming weeks and months. Enough with the motivation. Now let's basically go to the content side. And on the next page, I just want to give you a very brief overview of what will you actually learn today. We will briefly have a look at the McKinsey interview process. And in particular, today we are going to simulate the case interview part so that you can see, Gaurav has been with McKinsey and both of us have been members of the recruiting team. So we really know how the interviewers do the interview drill with the candidate. You will basically also see the top mistakes which you can avoid. And of course, tips and tricks. And feel free to ask your questions. Be very active so that we can discuss them in the Q&A chat afterwards. So let's jump directly into the content, I would say. This is just a very brief illustration for you. What does it mean to get into McKinsey? On average, roughly 200,000 candidates are applying to the firm every year. However, the selection is very tough. Only 1/3 of those candidates are invited to the so-called McKinsey imbalance test. And out of this 1/3, another 1/3 actually gets invited to the actual interviews, which means that 90% of the candidates will fall out simply during the screening test and will never actually ever get a chance to interview with McKinsey. So it's already only 10% that get invited to the actual interviews. But then the selection continues because another 1/3 gets to the second round and another 1/3 gets to an offer. So if you see the numbers, 200,000 at the very beginning, but only 2.2K land an offer, it's about 1.1%. So out of all the candidates, just 1% that actually make it to McKinsey, to other firms, because this is a very similar statistics. And the job of our company is to help you to become a member of this 1%, to go through that selection. I just want to give you some theory right now, and you will see how Rihan, one of our candidates today, will be implementing this into practice. So in terms of to solve every case, there are just 5 simple steps which you routinely need to memorize and repeat every other time. So you always start with paraphrasing the prompt and saying it again with your word. Then the most important thing is ask clarifying questions before you proceed with taking your time and doing the structure. Because asking clarifying questions will help you to understand what is the initial situation and what are your objectives. If you don't understand neither of them, you would not be able to do the proper approach. That's why asking clarifying questions is really so important. Then take your time and outline the structure and present it to the interviewer and align it with him or her. And then it's all about solving the case along the structure, bucket by bucket, and then sum up the solution and present the recommendation. So that's what it looks in theory. However, let's have a look at the top mistakes, which most of the candidates are actually making. Yeah. One of the few things is that candidates underestimate the necessity of the personal fit part. And maybe we are going to do our next webinar specifically on the personal fit part, because so many candidates are not adequately prepared for it. And hence they are coming already stressed out from the fit part of the interview. Then the second thing is that many candidates are not able to follow this process, which I have just described to you routinely, one after another. They don't ask the clarifying question, and that's why they don't really understand the case. So the following structure does not really make any sense because they don't understand what are they expected to do in case. And then the structure is not comprehensive, it's not exhaustive, and most of the candidates don't drive the case. That's why you see that out of 20,000 candidates who are invited to McKinsey, only 2,000 roughly will get an offer. Basically 1 out of 10 of those who are invited. In case of Gaurav, he was 1 out of 23 candidates who got an offer at the interview day. In my case, it was 1 out of 12 candidates who got an offer at Roland Berger at that day. So that's how competitive and how selective it is. That's why I can tell you as an interviewer, as an ex-interviewer, that most of the candidates fail. So I think enough about theory. Let's have a look what you actually need in terms of 5 steps to get an offer from McKinsey. First of all, you actually need to have a plan, some sort of your application strategy. And of course, you also need to polish your CV and cover letter to get even invited, because 90% failing to get an interview invite. Then one of the key success factors nowadays, especially during the COVID, is so-called vitamin B or relationships, basically, which you could need to establish. So through networking, try to organize your interview invites. Then, of course, prepare for every stage of the interview process involving personal fit part, case part, your questions to the interviewer. Train your emotional resilience. This is what Rihan is going to do now in a minute. And then, just crack all 6 to 8 interviews consecutively in almost one day and get an offer the same day. That's easy, isn't it? And we are more than happy to help you to prepare. I think enough of theory, and I want to pass the word to Rihan and to Gaurav. Rihan, so can you maybe briefly introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit more about yourself and what led you to Consulting Masters? How do you find it so far? And what leads you to our webinar today?
Definitely, Andre. Thanks for the opportunity. Hello, everyone. My name is Rehan. I come originally from India, and I have worked across 3 continents and also within industry and within consulting at EY. And I want to make a switch from EY to more strategy consulting firms. And that's when I thought of taking help of Consulting Masters. I have been attending several seminars, webinars like this, and that's how I learned about Consulting Masters and gave a lot of thought myself before joining. But I think I have joined very recently, and I think it was worth the decision. And I'm today here to practice for my upcoming interviews to get trial done. And looking forward to kissing with Gaurav. And hopefully you all pros and also from my mistakes that I do in this interview.
Perfect. Rihan, thanks for your introduction. I just want to encourage each one of you to put all the questions which you will be having now during the case simulation, which you will see now, so that we can address them later during the Q&A at the end of our webinar. Okay, Rihan, Gaurav, I leave the stage up to you. I would like to ask everyone to stay on mute during the interview simulation and maybe also turn off your camera so that we can create a sort of intimate environment for everyone. And Rihan, I want to wish you best of luck. No matter what happens, it's just practicing. So believe in yourself, try to enjoy this process, and imagine if it was very real. So all the very best. I keep my fingers crossed for you, buddy.
Thank you, Andre.
Thanks, Andre. We'll not leave anything to imagination. We'll bring the pressure. Okay, Rihan, welcome to McKinsey. First, how are you doing today?
Hi, Gaurav. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Great. So let's dive into a case. So Rihan, our client is a company called Tropical Juice. It's a division of a large consumer product company, a much larger company. The division produces fruit juices, and specifically in the 3 formats, chilled, in the juice boxes, and the frozen concentrate. Tropical Juice has sales of around 600 million last year, which is about 3% of the company's overall sales, which is 20 billion. You can imagine we are talking about a huge company. The chilled segment out of that represents 120 million in sales per year, while juice boxes division and the frozen concentrate division have been consistently profitable. Chilled juices are barely breaking. And in fact, in some quarters, they are also in negative, unprofitable. Now, Tropical Juice as a company, as a division, has hired McKinsey, and they need your advice on whether to sell the chilled chilled juices segment or whether to retain it. So that's the problem statement for you.
All right. I'm not much of a juice drinker, but definitely quite an interesting case, Gaurav. And allow me to very briefly repeat the prompt to make sure that we are on the same page. Clients, one of the divisions that makes juice of 3 types, then has a problem with one of the juice products, that's chilled juices, about 120 million in revenue share. And they have been barely breaking even or also making loss in a couple of quarters. And the company wants to know whether to sell it or keep the division.
Yes, you're right.
All right. I have a couple of follow-up questions, Gaurav.
Sure, please.
What would be the success criteria for the firm in order to keep it or sell it? What's their metrics? How do they measure?
Very good question. So currently on an average, every quarter it's fluctuating in their profitability. But on an average, you can say it's like 0 to 1% maximum. If the profitability can improve to at least 10%, which is an average of the other products as well, they can actually keep the company. Yeah. If not, they would like to get rid of the division.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to also learn a bit more about the product in itself. Chilled juices. So these are fresh juices?
Yeah. These are
cold?
No, not fresh juices. So fresh juices are part of the juice boxes as a product. Okay. These are the juices which have very short shelf life. Okay, these are the fresh juices. Yeah, frozen concentrate is, as you know, basically in the powder format or in a very very concentrated format, it is preserved and that has the longest shelf life. Yeah, what we are talking about at this point of time is the third one, where the juices are actually chilled and kind of kept for. Those are the bottles that can be preserved in the refrigerator, for like a couple of months. So not fresh juices, but not concentrate. These are real juices. Yeah, but those are like with preservatives.
All right. And which specific location are we talking about? Which market are they present in?
For the sake of simplicity, given that you are sitting in Europe, let's consider this as a European market.
All right. I think I have enough details to start working on. May I take a moment to structure my thoughts? Unless you have any specific question.
No, please. Why don't you get into structuring?
I think I would approach this problem into the 2 major options that are given, and that's keep and sell. And within keep, I would like to analyze 3 things. First, profitability of the chill juice product. Second, market trends and competitors. And third, feasibility of improvement. Within profitability, I would analyze revenues and cost. And within revenues, I would like to understand what's the volume sold, at what price are we selling. Within cost, I would like to understand what is the raw material cost, what is the production cost, what is the cost of shipping, what is the cost of marketing majorly. And once we have an idea on profitability, I would look into the market and competitor parameters. That's the second bucket. I would like to see how consumer habits are. So how are the market trends? Whether there is a shift in preference in towards more powder-based juices or direct freshly pressed juices, and how it has been for competitors. Has there been any new entry in the market, or has any competitor driving our profitability low? I would like to check that. And the last bucket here is the feasibility of improvement. Once we go through these first 2 buckets, we would have an idea why exactly the profitability is low. And then in the third bucket, we can check what measures can be implemented to increase the profitability. So this would be, and basically the assessment to see whether we can keep it or not. The second bucket, that's sell. Here, I'd like to see what is the value that we can get if we sell this in the market. Are there potential buyers present in the market who would be interested in this? In buying the firm, and what cost we can get out of it. So if the structure seems fine to you, and unless you suggest otherwise, I would like to start with the profitability bucket within the keep part.
Questions for you, Rihan. So on the feasibility, what exactly you plan to do?
So based on first 2 buckets within keep, we would understand where exactly the problem is. So let's say if there is a potential of improving our costs, then I would like to explore the measures of doing that and see whether we match our 10% profitability target or not by improving those measures. That's one example. I can give a bit more examples as well if you want me to.
And on the sell side, you would like to understand whether it's feasible to sell, what kind of price we'll get, etc. Right? Anything else?
What price we will get, and are there enough buyers to buy this?
Anything else you want to add on the sell side?
Let me take a moment to think. The price that would, of course, how are we evaluating the business? That would be one way to determine the price. So whether we are looking into our assets or whether we are looking into future value of future cash flows, but that's just going into a bit more depth, not adding one more factor. I cannot think of anything at this point of time.
Okay, no problem. Now, why don't you get into the profitability analysis? Tell me what all things you would like to explore over here.
I'd like to start with the revenues, average price, and volume that we have sold. Then compare it with historical data or other products or or with competitors?
I don't have any data on this. Okay. So why don't you tell me in details in terms of how do you plan to run this profitability analysis? Okay. And what exactly would be the outcome of this analysis?
So I would like to see our revenues and cost and break it down the revenues and cost further to their specific components. And then I would benchmark it to two things, either other products.
Tell me on the revenue side, what's the segmentation metric that you would use?
Average price and average volume sold per quarter, if you are looking at quarterly basis.
I mean, what's the criteria? You say you will segment it, right? So what's the segmentation criteria you have in mind for the revenue?
I mean, the components of revenue. That's what I meant with segmentation. So price and volume, basically. And if there are within chilled juice, if there are different type of sub product categories, then of course we would do this based on every product. Maybe some juices are more popular, some are less, and that are driving our profitability low. So sub product categories, we can also classify it based on geographies, but I'm not sure if that adds a lot of value.
Okay. What about pricing?
But for now,
what
I think
analysis would you like to do, or what will help over here?
So with prices, I would like to see what's the price of this product and then compare it with prices of other products that we are offering. So internally, as well as similar products that competitors are offering.
Why would the internal comparison help?
Just to see it's not an absolute alternative, let's say frozen juices and chilled juices, but to get an idea of pricing. Maybe it's also not complete different products. It's still juice. So it can be the case that our internal products are cannibalizing each other. So in order to check that, I'd like to look into the pricing. And
does that sounding sensible? I mean, price comparison with competition, I get it. But comparison with our own products, given that the segments are quite different, is not going well, at least to me. But yeah, okay. Let's move on. Let's go on the market side. Yeah. On the market side, I do have a few inputs, data points. Okay. Tell me, how would these data points you would interpret? And would it help you to kind of have a good sense of where is the market going? Currently, the market for chilled juices is growing at 3%, almost at the average GDP rate of all the markets that we are there. Yeah? So 3% is the year-on-year growth. One, the market has two big players. One has 40% market share, another has 25% market share, and we are sitting at around 12% market share. Thirdly, customers are quite price conscious in this market. They also look for promotions, coupons, volume discounts, etc. That's the third one. Fourth, from a product perspective, we have juices which has a base in peach. Peach juice is the base that we use, whereas most of the big competitors are using orange juice as the base. So that's the information that I have for you. How do you want to play with this information? Is there anything that can come out of this?
Do we also know the prices?
Prices
of us and the competitors?
We are actually competitively priced. So a bottle of juice is around 3 euros. The competition pricing is also quite similar.
So here, based on the information that you have provided, I can think of two major reasons for a higher market share from competitors. I would assume so 3 euro is the base price. And if there are any discounts and promotional offers from competitors, then that might be driving the market share towards them. And second, the content can be the case that orange base might be more popular within Europe and peach base isn't. So these are two hypotheses that I can think of, and I would like to check it forward if that's the case.
How about orange base being cheaper than the peach base? Hence, the competitor having more margin to play with. Is that a possibility?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that could be also definitely a case that they are relying on. Yeah, that orange is cheaper. The cost of production is cheaper. Could be the case.
Okay. What's the sense of the market share? The big players having significantly higher market share from us. Yeah. Do you think that would also play out in the market?
Definitely. They have economies of scale. So their production cost might be in general cheaper, even if the product mixes, even if they are also giving peach juice. So that can be one reason.
So at this point of time, whatever we have discussed till now, if you really have to summarize and give some kind of inference, where would you reach?
Can I take a moment to frame that?
Sure, please.
All right. Based on our analysis so far, we have observed that we do not have a strong market position within chilled juice market because of following reasons. We have two major competitors occupying 65% of the entire market, better margin. So that makes it difficult for us to compete with them. given these reasons, there are two options. Either we improve our cost structure and try to sell also more, so try to gain a bit more market share, or we sell our division. Going forward, we will have to look into both the options, starting with how can we optimize our margins, get more share and reduce costs. And of course, we can help client doing this.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the market is not growing that great. Yeah, 3% at GDP. So not many new customers we are expecting to add to the market. Yeah. So within the market, we need to eat up the other competitors' share. Yeah. And with price sensitive customers and all the other factors that we spoke about, it looks difficult, isn't it? How would you go about identifying a good seller for this division?
I think our competitors would already be the first choice. They are already having a pretty decent market share. So I think that would be one obvious choice. Second could also be, no, I was going to say firms that they want to launch this market, but I think with the performance that is there and competitive landscape that is there, that might be tough. So I think one of the two competitors would be a really good bet this case.
I wonder whether they will give us a good price though.
Maybe the second one would be willing to do that, as he's the second largest. That's why I would like to compete with the first one. And if they acquire us, they do have a decent strength then to compete with the other competitor. So that might reduce some price pressure.
Okay, great. A last question from my side. If I want to completely change the perspective, right? And if I have to tell you that think out of the box and tell me, if I want to retain this company, this division, then how can I retain this? How can I still make it work? Can you suggest 2-3 initiatives that you would want to take up to turn around this company?
Can I take a very quick moment to structure my thoughts?
Sure.
All right. I think in order to turn around profitability, we can put efforts into sales directions or into cost optimization. Into sales direction, we can do following things. Number 1, pricing. Number 2, customer base. Number 3, channels. With pricing, we can think of different models, maybe reduce the price slightly compared to our competitors or offer more discounts as it's a very price sensitive audience. And thereby, if we can get higher volume, then we would end up with more profits at the end. Second, that was customers. Here, I would like to see whether we are into B2B or B2C. Assuming that we are into B2C, expanding to selling this specifically to businesses, co-working spaces, offices, that would be a good market to tap into. And third was in terms of channels. So if we are selling right now offline, then going online and doing a bit more targeted marketing would be beneficial. In terms of cost, it seems that changing ingredients would reduce the cost to a certain extent. And going forward, we can also look into further different production processes and try to optimize that in order to reduce costs further.
Okay, good. So let's take a pause here, Rihan. And so how did it go for you? Can you just tell me in a minute, how did it go for you quickly?
I think it was not bad, but not till the standard it should be. The structure was fine. Still, I see a small scope of improvement, but the market part, the data that you gave me, there I could not drive more insights. So that was the weakest part. Others were not extremely strong, but fine. Open to your constructive feedback.
Okay. Overall, I would say the performance was average. A very good start, very high energy, clarification question. And overall, the issue tree was good. Yeah. The only thing that I would say, which are the major miss from the issue tree, is on the sell side. You didn't think about if you sell, there might be some linkages between other divisions as well, right? There would be some shared cost as well. There would be some synergetic impacts on those. So which was I think it was a big miss. Secondly, yes, the first analysis or discussion was completely qualitative on the profitability side. On the second one, when I gave you some data, I felt yes, on one is a little bit weak on the logical thinking. And secondly, when you are drawing the inference, you didn't involve all the available data. You had 4 or 5 data points, but your inference involved only a couple of them. Yeah, you should have involved all the available data points. Second analysis onwards, the energy dropped noticeably. That is one more thing that you need to take care of. Peach versus orange. The exhaustive thinking, you thought about whether people will like pitch or not, which has an implication on the volume. But what about the implication on cost? There's a possibility that one variant can be cheaper than other or more expensive than other, right? When you're having this comparison, think exhaustive, okay? The last brainstorming was good. I like the way you put together a structure and then you kind of came up with points. So that went well, okay? So on an average, I would say an average performance, a lot of areas to improve. Thanks for your time, Rihan.
Thanks, Gaurav.
So, Rihan, my congratulations. Actually, it's probably your first webinar with us, not just as a viewer of a webinar, but now as a candidate. So you finally made it. And I would say happy to start or happy to continue your journey. There are a few more things which we'll probably brief you after the webinar in more detail to give you the really deep dive debriefing about your performance. But I'm extremely happy to see that you have done this stuff because, guys, can you just imagine how stressed Rihan might feel himself in that seat when 40 eyes are watching and observing him and want to ask him a question. So over the last 1 hour, you have basically learned these few things. So you have learned the peculiarities of McKinsey case interview part. You have seen this live. You have also seen some of the common mistakes which candidates are doing. You also now know better how to plan your McKinsey journey or how to plan your consulting journey towards any other company like BCG, Bain, RB, or any other. Now, if you have seen already this, I'm pretty sure that you will have also an appetite for the solutions and demand them. So, of course, so what now? On the one hand, you can still continue to watch those webinars. There are tons and many hours and days of content on YouTube or on other internet platforms where you could still follow all of this. But this will not lead you anywhere, actually. You can try to prepare yourself. You can search for all the information, try different application strategies. I mean, in my time when I didn't have any coach back 12 years in the last financial crisis, I applied 39 times. I got rejected before from the 40th attempt. It finally worked out as I went into consulting. I mean, good luck if it's your way. Or on the other hand, you can basically use our help and access to our network and become the part of our valuable VIP community as Vivek decided to do so, and some other candidates I already see here. Dimitris, Chad, Snichel, hi guys, LA, glad to see you. Thanks for joining. Become way more efficient. That's why I just want to give you some of the statistics. So if you are, for example, an undergraduate student in Europe, the monetary benefit is just very obvious. I mean, you can count with salaries of higher than 60,000 euros total compensation per year. But if you are already an MBA, you could earn even 6-digit salaries higher than 100,000. If you have a few years of experience and if you are on the experience hire track, we used to have some cases just very recently where the candidates received up to 250,000 US dollars of salary. And basically so far we helped 541 people and our mentees also receive promotions faster. That's are the clear benefits which we can offer to you. What is really interesting here, I just want to give you a very brief example of our VIP result program where you could subscribe for the next 4 to maximum 6 months. And the majority of the clients who accomplish this program, they already start getting offers within 1.5 to 4 months because they have an access to the massive database with library of all the questions and cases from real interviews in the top consulting firms. And you could have some personal mentorship up to 25 expert sessions with us one-on-one. You have unlimited number of group sessions and you are also a part of our VIP community. So our network will obviously become your network. Within it's absolutely risk-free because we guiding you within this 6 moment till the moment that you are receiving your job offer. So if you are really looking for getting a job in consulting, is probably one of the best options which I could offer you for the moment. If you're still hesitating, I mean, as Ahmed said, he had a lot of doubts whether it's worthwhile investing it, whether he can make it, whether it's the good time, whether he is good enough. I mean, 541 stories actually clearly proves that program definitely pays off because with your future salary, just within the first 3.5 weeks on average, it will be your payback period for the whole program. And also for our VIP alumni program, we help candidates to succeed in the longer run, to help them thrive and to help them to make a really career leap, not just to suffer or to pass by, but in one of those programs, you will also learn how to avoid a lot of pain, or a lot of stress, which will be coming to you during your very first year, how to manage and navigate it. And you will also learn from our best practices, which will help you to become who you actually at that stage. So then I just want to also encourage you to get in touch with our client manager, Alessa Kim. Maybe some of the team will be sharing a link right now because I really have some very good news for each one of you. First of all, recruiters have been sleeping for the last 3 recruiting seasons. So last year, 2 recruiting seasons. This year, recruiting season in spring. Everything due to Corona was almost canceled. And now they finally woke up and they're looking for tons of candidates. So now the demand is huge again, and that kept Gaurav and myself extremely busy over the last few weeks and months. So now is exactly a very, very good time to take this opportunity right now, and it's really the best time to apply. However, we only have a very limited size. So far, out of 10 candidates which we can take every month, 2 seats are already occupied. So we only have like 8 seats left for December. And if you really want to become a part of that 1% who at the end of the day gets an offer, then take the first step right now and book the first session with Alessa. And I also have some special gift for you. As you know, Black Friday is coming in 2 days. So if you get in touch with Alessa today, you can also figure out some special offers and benefit even more for them so that we could give those special deals for you until the end of this week. That's probably it from my side. And therefore, as promised, you will also receive some of the bonuses. You can also get a free consultation with our client manager. If you simply book a Calendly slot with her, you can get the checklists for the perfect CV and cover letter, and also on the personal fit interview preparation part. So don't hesitate. Take the first right now. Click on the button on Calendly, get in touch with Alessa, and it would be my biggest pleasure to serve you and to help you to land your dream job offers.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. I hope, guys, that every one of you enjoyed the time with Gaurav and Andrea. And yes, again, please book a call with me. Even for you who already speak with me, but for some reasons didn't join one of our team. So please also book a call with me, and we'll figure out, okay? Yeah, you can find the link in the Zoom chat. And again, please find us as a consulting masters. Use this QR code. I get that every one of you are already tired of this word, but still you can use it to find us at our social media. And yes, you can just follow our news about consulting, about interviews. It might be very helpful and useful for you. And now we're going to start our Q&A sessions. And I already saw 2 questions from you guys. And also we will wait for another one. So let's start, I guess. And the first question from Jed. And the question is, I was wondering whether there was a room to ask for more questions in the beginning to end up with a better structure.
That good question. And yes, there's always a room to ask more questions. It depending on what's the clarification that you need. One question that you should not be missing is a success criteria question. And Rian asked that question. Apart from that, you can ask about questions on the product, on the market, etc. But not asking it wouldn't make a big difference, because in that case, as an interviewer, we would assume that you have enough information to take the case forward, at least in the structure phase. The questions that you should not be holding back are the questions to which you need the answers so that your structure is messy and relevant. Any data point that you would need to that effect, you should be asking in the clarification phase. Anything that is not needed and you are going to need that for the analysis, it can hold on. I mean, that can hold. Yeah, because you will not get only one chance to ask questions. After structuring, when you get into analysis, you again get a chance to ask questions. Yeah, so it's basically a tightrope walk. You need to decide when to ask which question. Of course, when as we engage more, we will coach you on what are the appropriate questions to be asked when.
Okay, thank you, Gaurav. And the next question from FS, I would say. And the question is, I didn't understand if there is segmentation into different sales channels, vending machines, or is there B2B?
You didn't understand. Okay, so we didn't get into the segmentation in the case because we had a limited time. Though the candidate did talk about it in the last questions, and he did talk about different channels. However, yes, in the FMCG and in the beverage kind of a scenario, or food and beverage, it's not a bad idea to segment the data by the sales channel. It's a very good idea, no doubt about it.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav. Another question from Samir. If we sell the chilled juice businesses, how would this affect the juice box and frozen concentrate businesses?
It will, no, because think about the entire value chain. Yeah, procurement of fruit, then packaging, then logistics. When you actually lose one business division, the economy of scale for the procurement, the loadability, or that in your logistics as well, whether the truck is full or half, that thing. So utilization of your logistics value chain, etc. Everything will get affected. So in fact, whenever the question is about keep or sell, never forget about implication of selling on the business that is going to remain. Okay, a lot of times candidates forget that. This candidate also forgot.
Thank you. And guys, please also know that you can raise your hand into the Zoom chat. So I can see that Jed raised his hand. So Jed, please open your camera, open your microphone, and ask your question in person.
Yeah, of course. First of all, thank you, Andre, Gaurav, and Odisha for organizing this. I just had a specific follow-up question to Gaurav. I saw that Rehan asked the key success criteria question, which I think is really important. But in my case, I would have perhaps also asked a question about the competitive market, which is something you mentioned after. Basically, there are two major players, one which has 40% market share and the other one which has 25%.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like with this information in mind, I would have structured my issue tree differently and perhaps put more emphasis on the not sell part, because you also informed that the market was growing at 3%. So I was just wondering, like, if it's reasonable to ask those type of questions in the beginning.
So as we all know, structuring is not a definitive science. As long as you are able to defend, because anything related to market competition, if you ask, as McKinsey interviewer, my first pushback would be, why should I share this information with you? And if you are able to defend yourself that, okay, if I come to know that if this is a concentrated market, then I would structure it like this. And if it is a fragmented market, then I'm going to structure it like this. So if you are able to defend it, by all means, you should be asking the question. Again, going back to the basics, don't forget you are playing the role of a consultant and I'm playing the role of a client. As a client, when the contract is not even signed, clarification phase, I'm reluctant to give you information. If you defend it and I come to know that giving the information is to my benefit, I'm happy to give it. So just keep that in mind. So if you would have asked and defended well, I would have given you the information.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jed, for your question. Thank you, Gaurav, for your answer. Guys, do you have any questions left? Maybe you can just raise your hand or write down your question. So it's actually a great opportunity, like a unique opportunity to speak with our coaches. So please use it. Oh, yeah, it's a big question from Shayon. Thank you. So the question is, I would have approached this case as total revenue is less than total cost. So I would go into the components of revenue and fixed variable cost. Is it a structured approach? Another question would be, is the profitability of the chill juice segment recently declined since customers are price sensitive? I'd ask questions about our MRP increase recently and likewise.
Bit complicated question, but I'll try to give not so complicated answer. See, one thing is whether the profitability has declined recently or not, you knew it. Yeah, this is a product which has been on the fringe of profitable, unprofitable, like quarterly basis. Yeah, so it's been happening, and that's part of the case statement. It's not that it has recently happened. Question about the price increase recently or likewise, yes. I mean, if you would have gone into the price asking, by the way, MRP for those who don't know this context or who don't know the full form, it's maximum retail price. So MRP increase recently or not would have been probed to decide whether something needs to be done on the price or not. Yes, you can do that.
All right. Sounds good. I think that all the questions have been already asked and answered. I think that's it for now. So I want to actually say really thank you to each one of you and strongly encourage each one of you to get in touch with Alessa and take the very first step today. Otherwise, we will see each other in 2 weeks from now after we basically get we need to help a few more candidates now to get the job offers. So maybe on Wednesday in 2 weeks from now, we will be having a look into the personal fit part of the interview with one of the leading consulting firms. So stay tuned and we'll be happy to see you there. All the very best greetings from Switzerland and take care. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you for participating.